This video is to explain how you can use Amazon's SES service to send emails. An email server's two main functionality is to send emails and to receive emails. With SES, you can do both, but in this video, we will take a look at using SES to send emails. Please note that the SES service for any new account is initially enabled in a sandbox with a considerable amount of limitations to use the service. So if you decide to use SES for sending emails, then create a support ticket to AWS requesting your account to be moved out of sandbox. In order to configure SES to send emails, the foremost requirement is that you should be owning an email ID, like your own Gmail ID or Hotmail ID, that you plan to use as a sender in the email, or you should be owning a domain with which you can create new sending email IDs. You will not be able to send anonymous emails using SES. Now let's consider that a SES user has an AWS account and has full access to SES. First, let's take a look at how to set up SES for sending emails using your own email ID. For this, the user needs to authenticate the ownership of the email ID. First step is that the user adds the email ID that he or she wants to use in the SES console. Second step is that the SES first marks this email ID as pending verification and then sends a test email to the email address that is added. The email owner then receives this test email in their inbox. Third step is that the email owner clicks on the verification link in the email confirming receipt and acknowledging that the email is added in SES for it to be used as a sender. Fourth step is that SES receives this verification behind the scenes and now marks the email as verified, and the SES user now will be able to use this email ID to send emails. Let's move on to take a look at how to set up SES for sending emails using your own domain. For this, the user needs to authenticate the ownership of the domain. Prerequisite to this setup is that you should have ownership of a domain and the required DNS entries are created as hosted domains in Route 53. First step is that the SES user verifies the domain in SES. While creating the verification entry, DKIM entries for the domain is also created. The second step is to add these DKIM entries to the Route 53. Once the DKIM entries are propagated from SES to Route 53, the domain is verified. Third step is to create identity policies, providing the root account full access to the SES service, and if required, adding additional permissions for other users and roles to use SES to send emails. Fourth step is to set up configuration for bounced emails. If you are using SES to receive emails, then this setup is not required. By design, AWS allows you to configure SES to publish bounced emails to an SNS topic. So you can create a new SNS topic or use an existing topic and configure SES to publish the bounced emails to this topic. In this video, I am not covering all the details of SNS. A related point to the bounced email topic is that you should add a subscriber who would need to receive notifications with the bounced emails. If you add an email subscriber, then the subscriber has to confirm the subscription. A SMS subscriber doesn't need to authenticate the subscription. Once you have completed this setup, you can start sending emails using SES by creating new email IDs. You can create any email ID with this option, like create a meaningful email ID as admin@verifieddomain.com or any gibberish email ID as shown. If you are not setting SES to receive emails, it will be a good practice to use a different email ID in the reply to option. You should be able to receive emails sent to the email in the reply to email ID. This enables the receivers to simply hit on the reply button to reply to your emails. Now let's take a look at a demo of both methods. Let's start with the setting SES by authenticating email IDs. I am in my SES console and notice that there is no verified email addresses currently. Let's take a look at this Python program. I'm using Boto3 APIs to call the SES service to send the emails. And the from email ID used is the gen3learning@gmail.com. Since this email ID is not verified, if I run this program, it is going to fail. So let me quickly run this program. Notice that the program has failed with the error message stating email address is not verified. So let's go ahead and add the gen3learning@gmail.com email to the SES console and verify it. So when you're in the SES console, click on verify a new email address and enter the email ID you would want to verify. So upon clicking verify email, you'll get a confirmation saying that a confirmation email is sent to gen3learning@gmail.com. So let me close this and also notice that it is currently saying as pending verification. So I'm going to the email address and notice that we have received a confirmation email, and upon clicking on the confirmation link, the email ID should get verified in the background. So we are back in the SES console right now. And upon refreshing the screen, we would notice that the email ID would be verified. So let's wait until the screen is loading. So notice that the email ID is currently verified. So if we go back to the Python program right now and rerun the program, the email should be sent successfully. So the program has completed with a success message saying email is sent from the gen3learning@gmail.com email ID. I'm going to check this email receipt. So I'm in the inbox G3 Mid-Century Productions and notice that we have received the email that was sent by SES. Next, let's take a look at setting SES by authenticating a domain ID. Let's walk through the steps to set up SES for your own domain. The domain name that you plan to use to send an email should already be registered as a hosted zone in your Route 53. So go to your SES console and click on Domains and click on Verify New Domain. In the Verify Domain box, go ahead and enter the domain name that you would like to verify and also check the Generate DKM Settings checkbox and click on Verify Domain. Once you have clicked on Verify Domain, the DKM entries would get created in SES and the text records would also get created in the SES. And when these values are propagated into Route 53, your DKM will be enabled and the verification status of DKM would say verified. And the verification status of your text record would also be verified. When both these verifications is complete, now this domain will be enabled for sending emails. Next, let's go ahead and add the policies. So expand the identity policies section and click on create policy. So here is a sample policy that I have added to the account where it is allowing the root account full access to SES. And once you have entered this policy into the text box, click on apply policy. Upon clicking on apply policy, the policy gets added to this domain ID. Next, let's take a look at a live demo for sending email using this registered domain ID. I'm in my SES console and my domain gen3learning.com is already registered. So I will select this one to send a test email ID. So let's go ahead and click on the more options to get additional options to add the reply to email address. So here I'm just going to let's start with adding a meaningful email ID. So I would say like admin@gen3learning.com and reply to gen3learning@gmail.com, and I'm sending this email to the same email like G3 Mid-Century Productions gmail.com. And the subject is this is a test email, and then body, this is the body of the test email. Let's go ahead and send this email. So when we refresh this, so notice that we have already received. So I haven't like registered any email ID with the SES, but it's just like by registering the domain, I was able to send an email from admin@gen3learning.com. In this email, notice in the header we have set up the reply to email address to be gen3learning@gmail.com. So if we click on reply, the reply will be sent to gen3learning@gmail.com and not to admin@gen3learning.com. So now let's take a look at the bounce actions. I have already set up a SNS topic and subscribed G3 Mid-Century Productions to be one of the subscriber to receive the bounce notifications. Notice the pending confirmation, and I haven't confirmed the subscription, so I have to go back to the G3 Mid-Century Productions, and notice this, there is a subscription email. So if I have to click on this and I click on confirm subscription. Once I have confirmed my subscription, you come back to this simple notification to the SNS service. So notice that this is confirmed currently. So let me try to send an email to a non-existing email ID using like admin@gen3learning.com. So I'm gonna use like gen3learning ggg, and hopefully this email ID will not be existing. So testing bounce and testing bounce notifications. So I'm hoping that email ID is not existing. So if I come back here, you notice this, I have received a notification from the SNS. Basically says notice type is bounce and bounce type is permanent. And let's look for this email ID. So this email ID, the action has failed. So this is handy because currently we have not set up SES to receive emails. So you would need to know what emails are not reaching the customers. So setting up the SNS to receive the bounced emails and subscribing to that email address where you can see the emails would be helpful. And that's all for this demo. Thank you. So what's next? We learned about SES, how to set up the service, and looked at the demo too. How do we use SES programmatically? We will use the sendEmail.py program that we saw in the demo in this use case. This code can be executed directly in a Lambda function, which can be triggered based on events. The program can run along with other applications that is running in an EC2 instances, and these programs can be executed on demand or on schedule. The program can run along with other applications that is running in an EMR cluster and can be executed on demand or as a step in your Oozie workflow. You will not use the email action to execute this program. For using email action, SMTP credentials should be set up. Remember that Lambda, EC2 and EMR should run with an IAM role that have permissions to use SES service to send emails. Also remember to configure SES to send bounced email notifications to the SNS topic if you are using an email ID that is not set up to receive emails. In a different video, we can take a look at how to set up SMTP credentials to send emails using SMTP protocols, how SES can be set up to receive emails, and how you can add additional policies to further control actions performed in SES. Hope this video helps you to understand how to use SES to send emails, and you can apply this knowledge in your work. If you have questions on this video, please email contact@gen3learning.com. Thank you.